Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Britta G. Hey, friends. I don't know where that came from. Good afternoon. Welcome back. This is day 2 of High Vibe Health. And some of you tuned in yesterday. If you were with me yesterday, you know that I went to a Kundalini yoga women's camp this past weekend for 4 days, and God, it was good. It was really, it was hard, it was intense, it was beautiful, it was a lot of things. But oh, how lovely to just be in practice and discipline and meditation for multiple days. And I got some really good downloads and upgrades to my own health, which is such a blessing because I, work in health, and it's so easy to think about this stuff all the time and almost get a little numb to it. So this concept of high vibrational health came through for me this weekend, and I just decided on a whim to throw out there 5 days of quick 10-15 minute mastermind classes on how to raise your vibration in your health. And if you didn't catch me yesterday, please go to my page and check it out. I talked a little about the concept of high vibration, high vibes, what that means. We hear that a lot. It sounds very esoteric, but it's real. And the beautiful thing is that when you raise your vibration in one area of your life, it automatically helps the other areas of our life come up as well and start resonating at that same high frequency, which is awesome because the better you feel, right? And then the better you feel physically, it's like the more money you start making and the more creativity starts to flow in your life and the better your sex life gets, right? This is how it works, people. This is how it works. So this is my intention, High Vibe Health Week. And today we're going to talk about nourishment. So yesterday we talked about really starting with choice, assessment, and focus. So please check out that video if you haven't seen it. Today we're talking about nourishment. So diving in, nourishment to me is, I often say it's all food. And some of you know me and know that, my approach is very much about mindfulness and mindful eating. I do a lot of work with mindful eating because for me, that's been the saving grace. It has been the real thing that works on a sustainable basis. That is like not a diet, but that is a way of life. And it's so good. So first, I just want to talk about this concept of it's all food. And I actually just spoke to a beautiful woman here in Santa Barbara who was asking me, she was telling me all about kind of her journey with weight and everything that she's going through right now. And weight loss is her main focus. And then through our conversation, talking about food and other things that came up, one of the things that came up for her was skin and like having blemished skin, and brought me back to the days when I had really blemished skin, which I totally did for a long time. And these days I so often think about like everything in our lives is truly food, whether it's skin food or gut food or heart food or brain food or soul food. Hey, everything in our life feeds us. So whether it's the books we're reading, the films or like Netflix we're watching, the quality of the conversation or the quality of the intimacy we're having with our friends or our partner, and of course, the actual food and beverages that we put in our mouth and swallow and digest and then turn into energy. So it's all food. And that's been really helpful for me as a shift in my life because it grounds this idea of like, this isn't about dieting. Nourishing ourselves isn't limited to your macros that you're eating and how many carbs you got, which we will talk about. We are going to talk about macros in another minute. but it goes so much deeper than that. And when I really open my vision to a bigger space of seeing like, oh, everything in my life is food, and how can I nourish myself more mindfully and more lovingly, it just all becomes easier and it becomes more aligned. And that's something else that really ties in with high vibration. And we're going to talk about that a lot tomorrow. We're going to talk about movement, which is my word for exercise. I don't really like the word exercise anymore. I pretty much use movement. So we're going to talk about alignment, because I feel like that's a really big key to finding systems of wellness that work. So yes, it's all food, and let's talk about a couple of really great arenas of how we feed ourselves and what we feed ourselves that can really help to raise the vibe, raise the vibration, raise the bar, raise the frequency on what you're putting into your body. So number one topic is, I'm going to talk about three things today. Number one is planning. So one of my mentors, Monica Shaw, who's incredible, there's also Money Health, and she is definitely my money health guru. She has a quote that I love, and she says, planning is the highest form of self-care. Planning is the highest form of self-care. Now, some of us hear that and just think like, what? What? Like, I hate planning. Ew. But I have found that planning truly is the highest form of self-care, because what happens if we don't plan? What happens if we don't plan? I can tell you what happens for me when I don't plan. I get overwhelmed. I put too much on my plate. I put too much on my calendar. I try and take on too much. Then I get stressed out. Then I get sick. Then I, fall off the wagon in like all these different areas of my life, and then I have to climb back on the wagon. So what planning does is it gives us freedom. It really does. It gives us a sense of control. It gives us a sense of clarity around the most important things that we're doing in our life at any given time. So one of the things that I love in terms of planning is having some sort of like morning ritual. And I think I spoke about that. Yeah, I did. I spoke about this yesterday too. Having a morning ritual is crucial. I really see it as a non-negotiable piece in terms of self-care and nourishing ourselves. So check out my video yesterday, because I talked about morning rituals. I talked about my morning water meditation, which I'd love to offer all of you if you haven't already gotten it. I see some people who have joined who I think are already on the morning water meditation tip, but it's a great way to raise your vibration. Another form of planning is meal planning and grocery planning. Now, again, this is something that we might hear and just be like, ew, I'm not into it. I'm not into meal planning. I'm not into grocery shopping. I like to just wing it. But again, the problem with just winging it is that you're essentially winging your well-being. And your well-being is worth planning. It's actually worth really taking some time to think about and to deliberate a little bit on. And one principle to bring into this is to make it pleasurable for yourself. Like, yourself. So maybe your meal planning looks like allowing yourself 30 minutes to like geek out on Pinterest a week and picking a few meals that you can try. Maybe your grocery shopping looks like, you find somebody who has a really amazing grocery list already, or you make yourself a really fun grocery list and you laminate it and you put it on your fridge with like a cool, pen. So those types of things, it's like thinking outside the box planning can really help us to raise the vibration in our health and in our well-being on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Um, the bottom line is, if you're overwhelmed, planning is the cure. It truly is. Because the other thing that planning is going to do for you is it's going to help you to be present in your life. And raising our vibration, if we want to do that, presence is a necessary component, because I feel like for me, part of what brings my vibration down is when I'm not present. And when I'm not present, what happens? I stress out, I get anxiety, I start worrying, I start making up stories, I start, I get lost in all the, mind stuff. I'm a yoga teacher, I'm into, all of that. So this is the nature of the human mind, is to be off and running and kind of monkey mind. And being present is such potent medicine. And I can tell you that planning is a crucial roadmap to presence. Okay, so that's number one, is planning. There's a lot of different ways that we can go about doing that. And also check out my video yesterday. I gave some really great current client examples of people who I've helped plan some things in their life that it's really enabling them to upgrade and up-level their self-care. So number two is macros, and I talked about this a little bit. So now we're shifting from kind of the how to eat, how to feed yourself, how to nourish yourself, into actually what to eat. But this is also still the how to eat, and it really does require presence, and it requires planning, and it requires awareness and assessment. And again, you can check out my video from yesterday for more about assessment. So understanding where you are, and again, the assessment, tool is super crucial for this. Like knowing, okay, for example, if you are exhausted, if you're waking up in the morning and you don't have enough energy, or if you're 25 pounds heavier or even 10 pounds heavier than you feel like your ideal body wants to be. So those are examples of assessing, okay, where I am. So what do I need to do in order to get myself to where I'm going to be feeling better? Because of course, feeling better is going to raise our vibration. So quick, very simple class on macros, macronutrients. You probably hear this buzzword a lot right now. And really macros are talking about carbs, protein, and fat. And without going super deep into it, what I will say is that many of us for the last several decades grew up being force-fed this story about carbs are like the bottom row of, the food pyramid. We should be eating the most carbohydrates, and then like protein and meat, and then like a little bit of fat at the top. And this is totally backwards of what is now coming through science, and what's now coming through many really awesome nutritionists and doctors and functional nutritionists and people who are doing the science, who are doing the math, who are doing the studies, and seeing that clearly this high carb situation and low fat situation was a complete myth that has put us in a really bad way in America and in the world in general. So you need to know how many carbs, how much protein, and how much fat you're getting a day. And I'll just tell you right now, for most of us, more fat is better for us. I'm not saying it's a should. I'm saying that if you want more energy, if you want to release some weight, you have to be eating more healthy fat, because what's happening for most of us is that there is fat on your body. So body fat and dietary fat are not the same thing. So when there's fat on our body and we're eating a lot of carbs, our body is using the sugar that the carbs become in our bloodstream for energy. So all the fat that's on our body is sitting there. It's not going anywhere because it's not being utilized. So in really simple terms, when you cut back on the sugar, aka the carbs, and you allow your body to adapt into a place where it can actually start burning fat for fuel, you're more satiated, you're not hungry as often, you can go way longer without eating, you don't need to eat as much, and your body's actually burning fat because it is using the fat on your body for fuel. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, guys. This is working. So I just want you to know that I want you to know about macros. I want you to have a sense of it and just start having it in your awareness if it's not already. If you want to dive into it, there are some really great apps out there where you can track what you eat and it will tell you your breakdown of macros. And again, it's, don't look at it as this is a diet. Look at it as like I'm a mad scientist and my body is my experimentation and I want to feel better. So what do I need to do? And if we can come at it from that place, there's no way we're not going to succeed and feel better. Okay, so that's planning was number 1. Macros is number 2. Number 3 I want to talk about is traveling and eating out. So this is something that has come really full circle for me as I've gotten deeper and deeper into my own wellness journey. Is I realize that if I go for a trip without some sort of planning or awareness around how I'm going to eat on that trip, ultimately my vibration does go down because I start to feel bad. Whether I am gassy or I'm bloated or I gain a couple pounds or I'm, lethargic. It's like when we leave our home, oftentimes we kind of like, oh yeah, sure, I'll just have this thing that I don't normally have. And, airplanes are a great example. Like, who gets on an airplane and orders a ginger ale? Probably a lot of us, or like a glass of orange juice. And man, so many people I've talked to, they're like, I get on planes and I order things that I would never eat at home. Like, I don't know what happens to me in that like tube in space, but I just allow myself these exceptions, and then I get off the plane literally feeling awful and exhausted and like lethargic and like I need a nap. So here's a couple really high vibrational upgrades for traveling and eating out. So again, this circles back to the planning for number 1 is please don't travel without snacks. There's just no reason for you to travel without snacks ever. And there's some really great snacks out there that this goes back to the macros that you can eat to feed yourself protein and feed yourself fat and feed yourself healthy carbs in the form of like vegetables and maybe some low glycemic fruits that travel really well. So some of those things you can pack are like nuts. My favorites are macadamias are my favorite. They're so good and they're so high in fat. Hazelnuts are amazing. I love those two together. Really great combination. You could throw in some like pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds or something like that. So packing nuts, of course, is great. You can pack some like carrot, celery sticks. That's a super easy thing that stays good in your bag, even if you're on a 12-hour flight. Hopefully you're not, that's really long. But even if you're traveling for 12 hours and you don't have refrigeration, like that will last you fine. Even packing like some string cheese or those little, what are those little round French cheeses? They start with a B. I can't remember. Maybe it will come to me. Baby Bell cheeses. Those are really good to travel with. There's like some sort of beef jerky or salmon jerky or turkey jerky. You can get really great like organic grass-fed awesome jerkies these days. That's a really great source of protein that you can travel with. So there's no excuse for you to leave home without snacks. There just really isn't. Another thing to always bring with you is a way to raise your vibration is to be more sustainable. And honestly, this drives me totally insane out in the world. I won't get on my soapbox, but I will just say that I never go on a trip without my water bottle and my travel mug. Never, never, ever, ever. Because if you're on the plane, they will fill your water bottle almost. I mean, I can't remember an airport that I've been in recently that doesn't have like a specific place to fill your water bottle next to the drinking fountain, or you can fill it from the drinking fountain. And then if you've got your mug, some other really great things you can do is you can bring, if you're on the MCT oil kick, which if you're not, I highly recommend you get on it. You can get some packs of MCT oil. You can get some packs of like collagen protein. Bulletproof brand makes both of these like in little packs that you can take with you that are super easy. You can get coffee at Starbucks or get, you know, hot water at Starbucks. Bring your own tea bags. This is another thing. Highly recommend. Like, why pay $4 for tea when you can bring your own tea bags and they'll fill up your hot water for free? And then put in your MCT oil, use a little bit of their half and half, or don't, you know, or not. You can put in the collagen and you shake it up and you've got this like amazing latte that you've just made for yourself for hardly anything. And you haven't wasted the like plastic cup and the trees and, you know, all the sustainability factors. So again, all of that super high vibration does require planning, right? It requires forethought. It requires a trip to the grocery store. It requires you to have a really great thermos and a really great water bottle that are a good size that you can travel with. But all of those things are really, for me, they're necessities. And the more that I dive into it's, the more that I stand up for, yes, my health is a priority, and no, I won't sacrifice it, because I know that when I feel better, my vibration's higher. And what does that mean? It means that I'm more connected. It means that I'm more available to the people in my life. It means that I'm more able to be of service. So that's our nourishment class for today. I'm going to stop there. You're welcome to watch this again. We talked about planning. We talked about macros. We talked about traveling and eating out. We didn't really dive too much into eating out, but I think you can really use that macro piece in it when you eat out. And just know that, like, ask for what you need at restaurants. Ask for what you want. Like, really, they will serve you. They're there to serve you. So you can always say, no, I don't want the rice. Can you just put some greens on there instead? And they totally will. So thank you all for being with me. Again, if you missed class 1 from yesterday, please go check it out. And then tomorrow I will be back with you again around 4 o'clock for the next class, which is going to be on movement, and really specifically pleasure-based movement. I also want to say really quickly that if this topic is resonant for you, if you're interested in nourishment and raising your vibration around your health, and specifically if you want to lose weight, if you want more energy, if you're feeling lethargic, if you're waking up in the morning with brain fog, if you need 4 cups of coffee to get through the day, I'm offering a 3-month group program, and it starts tomorrow. And it's called Eat Here Now. It's based on my book, and I have so far 8 beautiful, radiant souls who are joining me for the program. So it's a really sweet, intimate group where you get one-on-one time with me along with group classes, and the combination is really sweet. And I've had people lose a bunch of weight and gain a bunch of energy and like feel the best they have in 2 decades. So if any of that sounds good to you, know that you can have those results by June. By the end of June. That's 3 months from now. It's nothing. And I'd love to have you with me. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. You can reach out to me in the links below, or send me a message, and I'll also put a link to the page on my website that has all the details of that program. So thank you all so much for joining me today, and I look forward to connecting with you very soon. And I will be back tomorrow with more high vibe health tips on pleasure-based movement. Take good care, friends. Talk to you soon. Ta-ta for now.